Tesla's stock price up $40 today and soon to be up $100 is our story for today. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our subscribers as well as our Patreon supporters. If you'd like some more information on good trading process as well as technique, and also information that might be helpful in both areas, please join us on Patreon. Wow. So we predicted that Tesla's stock price would finish up just below 650 this week because there's an ideal combination of if the market makers can hit it to the 650 price point, we end up kind of in a zone where a whole bunch of folks lose money and the market makers make a lot of money. So that is what our expectation was for this week. Obviously, it's still only Wednesday. We have 2 more days to go. So we'll soon find out if it fits the parameters that we described. But who cares? It's great to have it above 650, heading for 670 right now. And the question that was popping up in my mind was, are we headed back to the good old days of Tesla doing 50 points a day and everyone making a lot of money on those options in the process? And the answer is, it's a bit early to tell, and that'll be confirmed by what we find out after quarter end next week. But it's my belief that what's driving price right now is in fact a real confidence about how big the numbers are already for Tesla and how big the numbers are going to be as we keep adding new things like production in Austin, and then after that, production in Germany, etc., to this whole discussion. So there are a few sort of general points that we wanted to cover about the trading that occurred today. The first one is that if we weren't this close to huge numbers being announced by Tesla, and therefore those numbers starting to influence, I would say that there's no way this holds and this is going to dip pretty hard. In fact, Squawk Square and a number of other traders that we kind of track were of a similar mind, i.e., it was a nice push that we saw, but it was in the early 650s. Squawk Square started shorting because he anticipated that this was likely only a short squeeze. So one of the open questions right now was today's updraft a short squeeze, a situation in which a large number of entities that had bet against Tesla were starting to lose money, and to close out their positions, they would have to buy the stock, which forces the stock up further, but only in the short term. So what it looks like based on the stock finishing up at 657, and then the last we checked and after hours, it had pushed up to 662, is that not only had the stock price jumped up, but we now started having institutions buying that stock price at the higher prices, both during the market day as well as post-market. So, we're keeping our fingers crossed that this in fact is a nice sort of updraft. And what it's starting to feel like, and we'll have this confirmed by tomorrow morning, is that there are a lot of folks who are going to wait until next week to get into Tesla, but they all of a sudden are having FOMO, fear of missing out. So what this then means is that we're starting to see large institutions that might have waited it out to enter in this Tesla party. They're concerned about the stock moving too far and too fast ahead of their ability to enter the space. So my conclusion on this or observation here is that I think there's a new sheriff in town in terms of process for Tesla. If we were prior to the entrance in S&P, there had been well-established patterns over a number of years about what we could expect over the next 2 weeks. Instead, we've kind of gotten a new environment impacted or developed by the S&P. And the biggest part of that is we're starting to see, for example, great numbers, and all of a sudden the stock price, instead of jumping dramatically like it did before entering the S&P, there's sort of a delay reaction where we get our numbers, all of a sudden, instead of a nice jump like we were expecting, we're getting these very slow accelerations in value. So what are we expecting over the next couple of days? Well, I really thought that we would find that 650 neighborhood and stay just below it. But the fact that we're already over that and we still have 2 days to go in the week suggests that there are a lot of people who are trying to get in before the announcement to avoid having to pay huge prices for it after the announcement, and they can pick up some cash in the interim. So my take on, sort of in general, that's my take on it right now. One of the story ideas we're working on is 5 things to avoid when you're involved in trading or investing in Tesla, or 5 common mistakes. And we'll be doing a show on this that will air tomorrow. But kind of as a preview, one of the things that one has to be aware of is to sort of expect the unexpected. There are several issues with this rally. Number one, we're still a week away from actually getting the numbers that will impact how Tesla stock does for the next several weeks. Number two, we still have lurking issues related to what's going to happen with Bitcoin. And so that's a behind the scenes pressure variable that's there as well, that's majorly affecting what's going on right now. We also have a dearth of upgrades. So if anything, we've seen a number of negative sort of article comments, et cetera, on Tesla, and rather than a bunch of positive ones. It was very interesting because this morning Barron's actually did a very interesting story where they were talking about the fact that Tesla used to be a very active stock, in recent days has become rather tame or stagnant. And I was fascinated by the fact that the exact day that they provided a negative assessment of where Tesla was in terms of movement of its stock price is the exact day that it actually took off. And if for those of you looking for indicators of acceleration of the value of the company, I just wanted to encourage you to start taking a look at this variable I'll call the negative Wall Street Journal variable, or negative Barron's variable, because it seems to be a correlation to them putting out more negative stories and there are no upgrades. And so in theory, those stories should hurt Tesla. But what's happening, the stock price seems to be moving up on these news reports. So this might be a new thing, and we'll keep an eye on it for you and update you, but you might want to think about it ahead of time to sort of add this to your portfolio of how to evaluate the stock price and movement of Tesla better. So it is now Wednesday. We're 2 days from Friday when expiration occurs. What we were expecting for the day is the stock price to be up, but for it to pull back into the 630s, high 640s, but not above 650 before Friday, because there's a huge amount of calls that have been written between 620, 630, 650, and there are a lot less puts. And so we thought that, hey, there's no way they're going to allow, the market makers would allow things to accelerate from there. Now, as I was just making that comment, I just got a note from one of our our charting advisors, and he's saying the chart target for him is about $674 a share, which is still $10 above where we are currently. Will it get there, and how long will it hold in that 674-ish neighborhood as we head into Friday? I was expecting Tesla not to make this run until they were just about to have front and center news for people to trade on, because a lot of the folks who are investor traders tend to bounce between companies that are about to announce earnings or significant news, like Tesla announces its general number of production. And clearly there's a little bit of a change of process and sheriff here, And we're excited because it's nice to see the long-term holders be rewarded with an up stock price and more money made in the process. So again, congratulations to all of you that made some money off of this jump. And we look forward to keeping you abreast of any new information we get. But I think it's very clear that everybody knows that their numbers were really good, and we're going to see some exciting things next week for the stock. We look forward to your constructive criticism, and we also, invite input on health tips and other things. So feel free to share if you have them to add. Reminder, a few shares of SpaceX available. Also want to encourage you to consider some of our health tips, which include, don't forget, don't go to bed within 4 hours of eating, minimum 2 to let the food digest. Also want to encourage you to consider a 2-5 or one of the other fasting diets to help in your sort of health and eating process. We also wanted to encourage you to consider forest bathing. As you can see, we have a nice view here, and the energy of the water, etc., is a great way to add to your overall health in all aspects. At any rate, again, we look forward to another blazing day tomorrow of trading and investing opportunities for Tesla over the next 5 business days, and wish you best of luck in capturing some of those gains. Tschüss German, au revoir French, lihitro, Hebrew, hoda has Farsi stras, which are Russian, konbanwa Japanese, hey do Swedish, namaste Hindi, g'day our friends in Australia, and in Jamaica we say enough respect, walk good man. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. Bye for now, and please take time for constructive criticism, would be greatly appreciated. Have a great day.